There will be moments in your life when the noise gets loud, the pressure gets heavy, and the people around you test every ounce of your patience. Unbearable people don't always shout. Sometimes they provoke quietly, consistently, relentlessly. And in those moments, most people react. They explode, they argue, they lose control, and without realizing it, they hand their power away. But listen closely. The strongest people in the room are never the loudest. They are the calmest. Because calm is not something you're born with. Calm is trained. Calm is chosen. Calm is earned through discipline when chaos is begging for a reaction. You see, the world will always offer you reasons to lose your balance. Disrespect, misunderstanding, ego, jealousy, none of these are rare. What's rare is a person who can stand steady when everything around them is shaking. When someone tries to pull you into their storm, your calm becomes your shield. Not because you're afraid to respond, but because you're wise enough to know that every battle doesn't deserve your energy. You don't need to prove strength by reacting. Real strength shows up when you can pause, breathe, and decide instead of explode. Staying calm doesn't mean you let people walk over you. It means you walk with purpose. It means you understand that your future is too important to be disrupted by temporary frustration. Unbearable people want control, and the fastest way to give it to them is to lose your composure. But when you stay calm, when you stay centered, when you stay focused, you send a message without saying a word. A message that says, I'm in charge here, of my mind, of my emotions, of my direction. And once you master that, no person, no situation, no moment can ever truly shake you again. Calm is not weakness. It is controlled power, and this is one of the most misunderstood truths in personal growth and leadership. Many people grow up believing that strength means reacting fast, speaking louder, or dominating a situation emotionally. They think that if you stay calm, you are allowing others to win. But in reality, calm is the highest form of strength because it shows mastery over the one thing most people never learn to control: themselves. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can shout, argue, or emotionally collapse under pressure. That takes no skill. What takes skill is remaining composed when everything inside you wants to react. When you stay calm, you are not suppressing emotion. You are directing it. You are choosing where your energy goes instead of letting the situation choose for you. That choice is power. Think about it. When someone provokes you and you explode, who is in control at that moment? Not you. The other person has successfully pushed your buttons and pulled you into their emotional space. Calm flips that dynamic. Calm says, I see what's happening, and I refuse to let it control me. That refusal is strength in its purest form. Controlled power doesn't mean silence forever or tolerance of disrespect. It means timing. It means knowing when to speak, when to act, and when to walk away. Calm people don't react impulsively. They respond intentionally. They understand that emotional reactions are temporary, but consequences can be permanent. One moment of lost control can damage relationships, reputations, and opportunities. Calm protects you from making decisions you'll regret later. There's also confidence hidden inside calmness. When you don't feel the need to prove yourself through emotional reactions, it shows that you are secure in who you are. You don't need validation from winning arguments or overpowering others. Your presence alone is enough. This is why calm individuals often command respect without demanding it. People sense stability. They sense discipline. They sense inner authority. In difficult environments, calm becomes a competitive advantage. While others panic, you think clearly. While others react emotionally, you see options. While others burn energy on drama, you conserve energy for progress. Calm allows you to observe, learn, and move strategically. It keeps your vision intact when distractions try to pull you off course. Understanding that calm is controlled power changes how you move through the world. You stop seeing patience as weakness and start seeing it as preparation. You stop confusing silence with fear and start recognizing it as restraint. And once you realize that your calm can outlast any provocation, You begin to move with a quiet strength that doesn't need permission, doesn't need applause, and doesn't need to be loud to be felt. Other people don't control your emotions. You do, and this realization is one of the most freeing shifts a person can ever make. Most frustration in life comes from believing that someone else has the power to make you angry, upset, or anxious. But the truth is, no one can enter your mind and pull a lever unless you allow them to. What they offer is a trigger, not control. The moment you understand this, you stop living like a hostage to other people's behavior and start living like the owner of your inner world. When you say, "They made me lose my temper," you give away responsibility and power at the same time. You place your emotional state in someone else's hands, and that's a dangerous place for it to be. Mature strength begins when you take ownership of how you feel, even in unfair situations. Ownership doesn't mean the behavior was acceptable. It means you decide how much access it gets to your peace. The situation may be uncomfortable, disrespectful, or exhausting, but your response is still your choice. Emotions rise automatically, but actions are always optional. That pause between feeling and reacting is where freedom lives. In that small space, you can decide whether you want to feed the emotion or let it pass. Most people react instantly because they've never trained themselves to pause. They respond from habit, not intention. But once you start noticing that gap, you gain the ability to step back mentally, observe what's happening, and choose a response that serves you instead of sabotages you. When you control your emotions, you also protect your energy. Emotional reactions are expensive. They drain focus, clarity, and momentum. One negative interaction can dominate your thoughts for hours if you let it. But when you recognize that you're in charge, you stop replaying the moment in your head. You stop giving free rent in your mind to people who don't deserve it. Your attention returns to what actually matters: your goals, your growth, your direction. This mindset also builds resilience. Life will never remove difficult people or challenging situations completely. But when you stop expecting the world to behave in a way that keeps you comfortable, you stop being constantly disappointed. Instead, you strengthen your inner stability. You become someone who can remain steady regardless of who walks into the room. The moment you accept that you're responsible for your emotional state, you stop waiting for people to change so you can feel better. You stop reacting on impulse and start responding with awareness. And in that awareness, you discover a level of freedom, confidence, and calm that no person can take from you unless you hand it over yourself. Silence and patience are strategic responses, not surrender. And this idea challenges the instinct most people have when they feel attacked or disrespected. The world teaches you that if you don't react immediately, if you don't defend yourself loudly, you are losing. But the truth is, not every response needs to be spoken, and not every reaction needs to be instant. Silence is often the pause that keeps you from making a mistake, and patience is the discipline that allows you to see the full picture before you move. When emotions rise, clarity drops. That's why rushing to respond usually benefits the other person, not you. Silence creates space, and space creates control. In that space, you're no longer operating from emotion, but from awareness. You're listening more than speaking, observing more than reacting, and learning more than revealing. People often expose their intentions, insecurities, and weaknesses when you give them time to talk. Your silence becomes a mirror, and patience becomes your advantage. Patience doesn't mean you accept bad behavior. It means you refuse to let bad behavior rush you into a response that doesn't align with who you are or where you're going. You're not backing down. You're backing up mentally to gain perspective. You're allowing the moment to cool so your judgment can sharpen. This is how leaders move. They don't let pressure dictate their decisions. They let clarity lead. Silence also protects your power. Every word you speak carries energy, and when you speak from frustration, that energy is wasted. Silence conserves it. It keeps you from oversharing, over-explaining, or engaging in battles that don't serve your future. Not everyone deserves your explanation, and not every situation deserves your emotional investment. Sometimes the strongest statement you can make is refusing to participate in the chaos. Patience trains emotional endurance. It teaches you that discomfort doesn't require immediate relief. You learn to sit with tension without exploding, to hold your ground without proving a point, and to trust that timing matters. Many conflicts resolve themselves when you don't interfere emotionally. People calm down, perspectives shift, and solutions appear that weren't visible in the heat of the moment. Those who mistake patience for weakness often lack it themselves. They need noise to feel powerful, reactions to feel important, and conflict to feel in control. When you choose silence and patience, you're not surrendering. You're refusing to be manipulated. You're choosing long-term strength over short-term satisfaction. Silence is not the absence of strength. It is strength under control. Patience is not delay. It is preparation. And when you understand that staying quiet and waiting is sometimes the smartest move you can make, you stop reacting like everyone else and start moving like someone who knows exactly where they're headed and doesn't need to rush to get their inner discipline. Matters more than outer chaos. Because no matter how loud the world becomes, the real battle is always happening inside you. External situations will never be fully under your control. People will disappoint you. Plans will change, pressure will rise, and chaos will show up uninvited. If your peace depends on everything around you being calm, then peace will always be temporary. That's why inner discipline is essential. It is the ability to remain steady even when circumstances are unstable, to stay grounded when everything feels unpredictable. Most people spend their lives trying to control the outside world. They want people to behave differently, situations to be fairer, and outcomes to be guaranteed. But life doesn't work that way. The only real control you have is over your thoughts, your reactions, and your decisions. Inner discipline is what allows you to separate what is happening around you from what is happening within you. Without it, outer chaos leaks into your mind and takes over your emotions. With it, chaos stays external where it belongs. Inner discipline is built in moments when no one is watching. It's built when you choose not to react even though you feel provoked. It's built when you regulate your thoughts instead of letting them spiral. It's built when you keep your standards intact even when the environment encourages you to abandon them. This kind of discipline doesn't happen automatically. It's trained through awareness, repetition, and restraint. Every time you pause instead of explode, you strengthen it. Every time you choose clarity over emotion, you reinforce it. Outer chaos is temporary, but inner discipline compounds. The more disciplined you become internally, the less external noise can disturb you. You stop being pulled into drama. You stop absorbing stress that doesn't belong to you. You stop allowing other people's emotions to dictate your state of mind. This creates emotional independence, where your mood is no longer controlled by circumstances, but guided by principles. When inner discipline is strong, pressure sharpens you instead of breaking you. Challenges become tests, not threats. Criticism becomes information, not identity. Difficult people become reminders of your growth, not obstacles to it. You realize that calm, focus, and self-control are not reactions to peace. They're the source of it. The world rewards those who can think clearly under pressure. When others panic, disciplined minds analyze. When others react emotionally, disciplined minds choose strategically. This is how progress is made, how leadership is built, and how purpose is protected. Outer chaos will always exist in some form. There will always be noise, conflict, and uncertainty. But when your inner discipline is stronger than the chaos around you, you stop feeling overwhelmed by the world and start moving through it with quiet confidence, steady focus, and a level of calm that doesn't depend on conditions and cannot be shaken by circumstance. Staying calm is how leaders protect their purpose, because purpose requires clarity, and clarity cannot survive in emotional chaos. Leaders are not defined by how loudly they react, but by how steadily they move when pressure is high. Anyone can lose control when challenged, but it takes a different level of maturity to stay grounded when emotions are being tested. Calm allows leaders to keep their vision intact while others get distracted by temporary conflict. When you understand where you're going, you stop letting small provocations pull you off course. Purpose demands focus, and focus demands emotional control. Every argument, every ego clash, every unnecessary reaction costs time and energy. Leaders understand that their attention is valuable, so they guard it carefully. They don't waste it on drama that doesn't align with their mission. Staying calm isn't about avoiding responsibility. It's about choosing responses that serve the bigger picture. When emotions run the show, purpose gets sidelined. When calm leads, purpose stays protected. Calm leadership also creates trust. People feel safe around someone who doesn't panic, explode, or react unpredictably. They listen more closely. They follow more willingly. Calm sends a signal that says, "I've been here before, and I know how to handle this." That confidence doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from self-control. Leaders who remain calm in difficult moments become anchors for others, especially when situations feel uncertain or overwhelming. Purpose is fragile in its early stages. It can be easily damaged by impulsive decisions made in emotional moments. One angry response can close doors that took years to open. One careless reaction can shift how people perceive you. Calm acts as a filter, slowing you down just enough to think before you act. It protects your reputation, your relationships, and your long-term goals. Leaders think in years, not moments, and calm helps them stay aligned with that long-term mindset. Staying calm also keeps leaders from becoming reactive followers of emotion. When you react emotionally, you're being led by the situation. When you stay calm, you lead the situation. You decide the pace, the tone, and the direction. This is how purpose stays in your hands instead of being tossed around by circumstances. Calm gives you authority over your actions, even when you can't control the environment. In the end, staying calm isn't just a personality trait. It's a leadership discipline. It's how leaders protect their purpose from distraction, ego, and emotional exhaustion. It's how they stay focused on what truly matters when everything else is trying to demand attention. And if this message resonated with you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.